Hi, my name is Jim Pettry. I work with Bowling Motor and RV in Ottumwa, Iowa. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm RVIA Master Certified, been Master Certified for 20 years, and today we're going to cover how to winterize a 2019 Wildwood travel trailer by Forest River. One of the first steps that you're going to want to do when you get ready to winterize your unit is at the end of your camping season. You're going to want to use the opportunity to get the water out of your system before you ever leave your campsite. You'll want to drain your holding tanks. You will also want to drain all of the water out of the water heater and out of all of your water lines. And as the process of the video today, we'll show you how to aid in that so that when you get home, you won't have to try to use compressed air to blow the lines out, which, unless you have the proper equipment, can cause damage to your water lines. If at any point you're not comfortable with doing the winterizing by yourself, feel free to contact our service writers at Bowling Motors and RV in Ottumwa, Iowa. We can set up an appointment to winterize your unit for you. For the small cost of about 1 hour in labor, we'll go through, winterize your system, and if anything fails, the bill is on us for fixing it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go inside the unit and start the process of getting the pressure off of the line so that we can drain the system. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take the pressure off of the system. The way you do that is you make sure that your water pump is in the off position, shut the pump off, and then go around to each faucet, turn the faucet on to relieve the pressure off of the water lines. So after you get the pressure off the system, you come outside and you locate where your low point drains are. You pull the caps off of each drain. That's going to allow the water that's inside in the lines to drain out onto the ground. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cover how to drain your water heater. When you go to drain the water heater, a very important step to do is to check and make sure that the temperature has came down in the water heater if you were using it. You want to touch the pop-off valve, the brass valve that's located at the top of the water heater, and make sure that it's cool to the touch. If it's still pretty warm to the touch, you're going to want to wait and come back and drain the water heater later. So in our case, it's already cool, so we're going to go ahead and drain the water heater. On a Suburban water heater, you need an 1 inch and a 1/16 socket to remove the plug. You just loosen it. Don't pull it out all the way. If you pull it out all the way, you're going to get a huge gush of water coming out. Just let it kind of sit there and almost like burp itself. Close the door to avoid the splatter. And when the water is all done coming out of the bottom of the door, you can come back to the water heater, check the anode rod that's in the water heater on a Suburban water heater. The center core of it should not be fully exposed. There should still be some aluminum pieces left around the steel core. Suburban water heater has a steel lined tank. The purpose of the anode rod is to sacrifice itself to save the inside lining of the tank of the Suburban water heater. The anode rod usually only has to be replaced every 2 to 3 seasons. There are some locations, if you're down south, where the water is harder than what it is in the northern half of the United States, and it might require more frequent change. Okay, to help aid in locating your freshwater tank drain, most RVs on the outside have a similar water fill to this. Once you've located your water fill, usually directly below it is either a petcock or a plug to drain the fresh tank. Just turn it and let the water drain out. So we're going to go ahead and locate where our water pump is at inside the unit. The easiest way to locate the pump is to simply turn the water pump on and listen for where the sound is coming from. In our coach, it's coming from right down here below this access panel. To remove the access panel, just pull the 2 screws, take the panel off, set it in the screws aside, pull the drawers out above it, now you want to locate the inlet side of the pump. The way to locate the inlet side of the pump is, in most units, there's a filter system built onto the pump. That is the inlet side to the pump. That is the side you want to disconnect. If yours doesn't have the filter system, then what you want to do is locate the pressure switch that's on the top of the pump. Where the wires connect coming into the pump is the inlet side of the pump. Okay, some units have a bypass pre-built onto the pump to where all you have to do is turn a valve, take a hose that's already built onto the system, and put it into your antifreeze jug. If you don't have that type of system, you have to have a pre-made hose to connect to the system to get the antifreeze from the jug through your system. So after you got connected to the water pump, you're going to want to find your water heater. Most RVs have a water heater bypass built onto the back side of the water heater. In our case, the water heater is located in the back to where there's an access panel with the bed that you remove to get to the valves so that the antifreeze does not go into the water heater. It just bypasses it and goes through the lines. Once you locate the back side of your water heater, you're going to find either 2 or 3 valves. There might be a single valve, but in our case we have 2. You want to turn the valve the opposite way of how it currently is. The handle is now facing towards the bypass hose. You need to do the same thing on the bottom hose. Both valves are now facing towards the bypass hose, so that when the water or the antifreeze is coming through the system, it hits the valve, backs up through the bypass hose, and continues out on the hot water side. So with the pump on and the system under pressure, you just go around to each side of the faucet, hot and cold. We're going to start off on the hot, open it up, let it run until we have nothing but pink antifreeze coming out. Let it run for 2 to 3 seconds on each side, hot and cold. Then you just go around to each individual faucet and continue the process doing the same thing. Now on the shower, you want to make sure to take your shower hose, turn one side on it, doesn't matter which, pull up on my diverter, and run it until you get antifreeze out of the shower head. So that completes the winterizing process. The only thing we have to do now is disconnect everything and clean up the antifreeze that's left over inside the sinks. So we're going to go ahead and shut our pump off, bleed the pressure off the system, and we're going to go ahead and disconnect. And we want to make sure to reconnect our freshwater supply to the pump. That was your winterizing process on your 2019 Wildwood travel trailer. Thank you for watching. I'm Pettry. Stay tuned for the dewinterization video that we're going to be releasing this spring.